Welcome to today's interview with Jackie. Jackie is an awesome POD seller that I've worked with since June of 2022. Jackie went from the corporate world fully into the POD space in this time frame, and I'm really excited to unpack Jackie's story because there's so many amazing details. Make sure you guys watch all the way through because she's gonna have some golden nuggets for you, and she just has an amazing story. So thank you so much, Jackie, for being on with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jesse. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So, Jackie, before we get into everything, can you tell the viewers what you were doing before your POD business and how you got started with print on demand in the first place?
Sure. Well, I started in graphic design. I was a graphic designer for 20 years with the same company, and it kind of evolved over that time into working in marketing, and I did all their product design and social media, which I don't like. and But yeah, it was a good 20 years with the same company, and I learned a lot. Um, I actually got into selling on Etsy. I don't even know if you know this, Jesse, but I got into selling on Etsy originally um, because my dog at the time was part goat, as we like to call her, because she ate everything,
Okay.
and she needed emergency surgery, which
Oh,
if
wow.
you have pets, you know that that can cost a ton of money, which it did. I ended up like taking a loan out and everything. Like, it was
Mhm.
expensive.
Yeah.
So I needed to pay off that loan. So I looked into Etsy because I just knew that that was, an option maybe if I could find the right thing to sell. I was actually thinking maybe I could like paint or something and sell my paintings because I didn't know all that you could sell on Etsy. So I found that you could sell digital files, and
Mhm.
like at the time I was like doing artwork for like wall art and stuff like that. So I sold for, gosh, 8 years digital files on Etsy. So that, I mean, that allowed me to pay off my loan really quickly. And I knew that that was like a good option for me to earn supplemental income,
Mhm.
which worked out really well for me. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. And I liked the fact that I wasn't like having to make anything at home, like, and send it out, or, hold inventory, or there's
Yeah.
nothing like that. So it was really a cool option for me. And that kind of, once I paid off the loan, that kind of died down, the need for, to supplement my income, even though I did freelance graphic design work here and there,
Mhm.
um, which was fine, but it was not super exciting for me. I wanted to do something creative if I were to do something to supplement my income.
Yeah.
So anyways, I it got to the point of um, I got laid off from my job 20 years later during the pandemic, like so many people out there.
Yeah.
And during that time, I was just looking on YouTube for options for something similar to what I had been doing on Etsy. Like, what else could I sell on Etsy to make money?
Yeah.
And I saw print on demand, and I had never heard really of, maybe I'd heard of it, but I didn't know quite what it was.
Yeah.
And I just thought the concept was really cool of having someone else supply the inventory, take care of the fulfillment. All I'm doing is the designing work.
Mhm.
And also for me, I'm a really huge introvert. Like, I didn't want to go out and start my own graphic design business and network and do all this stuff. I wanted to sit behind a computer and
Uh-huh.
listen to my music and make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. So, anyways, of course, you find all these people on YouTube that have these crazy stories with making tons of money.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, I wonder if I could do that too. So I started with print on demand jewelry.
Mhm.
And so that's what I had kind of been playing around with. When I found you, I think I found you on Instagram.
Mhm.
And that's when I joined your program. Was
Yeah.
actually to sell more of my print on demand jewelry.
Uh-huh. That's
So
awesome. So when you were selling your jewelry at that time, how much jewelry had you sold, like, coming into the start of my program before you had, taken my course and everything like that? Where were you at with sales with your POD jewelry?
I was doing okay for just starting out, I would say, but I made around, or I didn't make, I sold around 15,000 or so
Uh-huh.
with my print on demand jewelry. And it was just, it was nice to have that extra income, but it wasn't nearly enough, something that I could like, okay, I don't need to look for a job anymore, or.
Yeah.
Um, but it was a good start. So I had a little taste of like, ooh, like maybe there's something here on this with this print on demand, because I mean, I could have went back to my digital files and sold that. I don't really have a concrete reason why I didn't, other than this sounded more exciting. And also, I did do the research and see some shops that were just killing it. I mean, you can see what the sales numbers are, when you go to their shops, and I was just like astounded, like, wow, they're selling so much of
Yeah.
this, and why can't I do that?
Yeah.
So
That's great. Amazing. So you sold $15,000 worth of jewelry kind of coming into the program. So my question would be for you, like let's fast track a year later after you joined my program. What did your sales look like then, a year later?
year later, after joining your course, I was at 382,000.
Awesome.
So yeah,
That's a pretty good pickup.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
would say so. I was pretty happy with those results for sure. I mean, I I didn't know what to expect. I just knew, seeing what other people were doing, selling that product that I had chosen, I knew that there was that opportunity there. And I always had that mindset of like, why couldn't that be my story?
Yeah.
I can work hard. I can put out good designs. I just needed a roadmap and a
Yeah.
process and something that's been proven, which
Mhm.
is what you provided. And thankfully it worked, and it worked actually really fast for me. I was so surprised. I don't know if you remember this, Jesse, but like my first month, or my second month maybe, I
Uh-huh.
think I sold like $30,000 worth of product.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I was just blown away of the quick results that I was able to achieve, and that wasn't putting out like 1,000 listings. That
Yeah.
was maybe a couple hundred at the time. Um, but yeah, I was super happy with those results.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, don't let Jackie fool you. Jackie is definitely she puts in a lot of time and effort too. So there's two sides to the coin. Of course, with good information, the right strategies, the right understanding, that will be what allows you to have the framework to get there. But you do have to double down important, which is one thing that Jackie had done for sure and still does now. But with that being said, there was actually a cool stat that I came across from what you had told me. A handful of months, maybe 6 months into working with me, which is what you said of listening to the course on repeat over and
Oh
over
yeah.
and over and over again, which is really cool. And I started to correlate some things that the top people I've ever coached. I have a lot of cool success stories that have worked inside my program, which is amazing. And I get so much fulfillment out of being able to guide people into, really big levels in their business. But that was a stat that you started to correlate for me, which was the people who have listened to my course 10 times or more were getting much better results. So it's like something about ingraining that information in. So I think the biggest takeaway for anyone with that is, when you have the right strategy in place and you have the right understanding, if you keep just really ingraining that in of exactly what you're doing, there's something that happens with your brain where you get super focused on the things that matter most. And it allows you to start having an output that gets you to your goal much quicker. So don't just watch one thing one time and think you have it all. Continue the repetition of learning the same material over and over and over again and focus on what matters most, and you're going to produce some amazing results. So
Yeah.
Jackie is proof of that right there. So thank you, Jackie, for listening over and over again. That's amazing.
It's so funny because well, thanks for saying that, but yeah, that is so true. I mean, I did just say I like to just like I want to like listen to music and work,
Yeah.
and I do still do that. But a lot of times I'll replay the course in the background, and not only am I just continually learning, because there's so much to learn, there's
Yeah.
so much information, and it's still surprising to me how you can break down a subject like SEO and titles and
Mhm.
tags, and many there's so much strategy behind it.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're just coming into Etsy and you don't quite understand it, and how it works. You're just kind of like looking at what other people are doing and thinking, well, just they're just shoving in these words. They're all the same words, but no, there's a clear strategy to this.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the reasons why I chose to work with you.
Hmm.
Was one of the first videos I saw, you were like standing in front of a whiteboard and like going through all these points that I had never heard before. And I am a true like information gatherer. Like I will go to the extreme and like just want all the information
Yeah.
before I even take action, which I don't recommend.
Yeah.
But because there's a lot to be said about you need to put action behind it.
Yeah.
But um, but there's just so much to learn.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's just so much to learn,
Yeah.
and it's cool working with you because you have the experience. And I mean, Jesse, how much have you sold to date? It's just this insane number. It's like
Yeah.
I
I've
can't
sold $10 million on Etsy and Amazon combined with my print products.
Yeah, I mean, that's not luck. That's
Yeah.
strategy, that's
Yeah.
knowledge, that's experience.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's really cool to have these resources in the program where he just breaks down, step by step.
Uh-huh.
So it's really easy to learn, and yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It's a great course.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. So, what is your long-term goal for your business? So, we're gonna get into some other parts of your story. So, guys, don't go anywhere because Jackie has some really cool things about her story coming up. But I want to know before we get into all that, what is your long-term goal with your POD business?
I want to retire doing this. This is what I
Yeah.
want to do for the rest of my working career.
Hmm.
I definitely don't want to go back to my corporate job for so many reasons.
Yeah.
So many reasons that I'm sure people out there in the corporate world can understand. I mean, um, there's something that is so I put so much pride into knowing that I'm my own boss, that I set my own schedule, that I make my own business decisions, that I can make this business work for me.
Yeah.
Um, it's just so cool. I just love it. I love every part of it, and yeah, I just want to keep going with it and continue to grow and evolve and learn and yeah, but I know for a fact that I will be doing this until I retire.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully retire early.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So let's move into a really cool part about your story here. Yeah. So I know your dad holds a super special place in your heart. Could you share with the viewers your story with caretaking for him while still running your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad had Alzheimer's,
Mhm.
and it was getting to the point where, he lived at home still with my mom,
Mhm.
and it got to the point where it was just too much for her.
Mhm.
So I decided to actually sell my home. I moved in with my parents at 43 years old, and and was a caretaker for him. And it was really cool because it just worked out where I was able to build my business and grow something for myself that could last a lifetime,
Uh-huh.
and at the same time be exactly where I needed to be, which was with my family, taking care of my dad,
Mhm.
spending that last bit of time with him, because that's in my opinion, that's the ultimate gift, that you can give someone is your time.
Mhm.
And so it was really cool because I was able to balance, growing my business and caretaking for him, because
Yeah.
anyone who, is a caretaker in any form for their kids or whatever the case, sometimes the level of care changes day to day, hour to hour.
Mhm.
And so I needed something flexible.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this provided for me, is the flexibility to, work on my business when things were okay with him, and to step away from my business when things, when he needed more care. And it just provided that it was all about the flexibility, all about the freedom. I didn't have to worry about if I needed to be there for him. I didn't have to worry about, is my boss going to be upset with me because I'm late or I can't make it, or, any of those real concerns that, and the job that I came from was super flexible, but still, it gets to a point where you got to show up.
Uh-huh.
And there were many times where I would not have been able to do that. I mean, I probably would have been fired,
Yeah.
um, because my dad came first in my
Hmm.
mind and in my
Yeah.
world. So I would have done anything, to make sure he was taken care of. So it was really cool because it just allowed me to, have an income, grow my business, lay a foundation for
Yeah.
my future, and be there for him. And I'm just so grateful. And, I've said it to you before, Jesse, but now I can say it publicly that I'm just so grateful that, I found you in this program when I did, because, I would not have been able to do this by myself. And
Yeah.
I had that support and that roadmap from you and your team, and it meant everything. It was such a cool chapter in my life that I could, grow my business, start a business, grow
Hmm.
my business. And but I was fully there for my dad at the
Yeah.
same time when he needed, his family around him. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Jackie. Yeah, that's what motivates me more and pumps me up more than anything else is getting to have genuine impact. So I really appreciate you sharing that with everyone there.
Yeah.
Kind of segueing off of that same topic. So when your dad did pass away, how long were you able to take off of just growing your POD business and still have it sustain itself? And how much time was required for you to still pour in on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's an amazing part of this whole thing because, as he was declining, my dad passed away in November of last year.
Hmm.
Um, as he was declining, I stopped adding to, I had two shops total on Etsy. I stopped adding to my shops in August of 2020, 2023.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's all blur. It's
Yeah.
all blur. Um, so I didn't add anything. I only would fulfill orders, thankfully, that were still coming in every day, and personalize orders. So that's what I spent my time on, were any, customer service requests. So yeah, I didn't touch my shop really. I didn't grow it for a long time, from August of 2023 to August of this year.
Uh-huh.
I just started in again growing my shop in August of 2024. So yeah, I'm really pleased that my shop was able to sustain a good number of sales through that time.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So I think if I remember right, you told me you ran somewhere year to date around like 200 something thousand, correct? This year without touching your business at all.
Yep,
That's
yep.
amazing. And that's
And that
before
was in one
Q4.
shop.
Yeah, oh, that's only one shop. Okay. So you ran even more, and that's before Q4. And Q4 is where almost half of your sales, 40% of your sales or so come from. So that's
Right.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Um, So now that you're kind of in this new season now, right? What are your POD growth plans, currently, and do you have any new plans coming into 2025?
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm really excited because this will actually be 2025 will actually be my first year that I am going to be able to dedicate to um, building my business
Yeah.
in both shops. So I'm really excited because I haven't done that yet. I really, again, I'm so grateful because I was able to take time off after my dad passed, and I didn't, I just was able to grieve and heal.
Yeah.
And I know most people are not able to do that. They have to go right back to work
Yeah.
and business as usual. And that just I didn't have to because of the success I had. Um, so anyways, uh, yeah, I lost my train of
Well,
thought.
you're totally fine. Yeah. So I was just thinking for now, new plans for 2025. Do you have any specific plans there for growing your business?
Yeah. So I'm going to, I had a goal in mind for how many listings I'm going to have in my one shop. So I'm
Hmm.
getting close to that number. Once
Amazing.
I hit that number, my plan is to go back to my second shop, and
Uh-huh.
I'm actually going to do a little switcheroo.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to switch to a different product.
Uh-huh.
Um, and the cool thing again about what Jesse has to offer is that he has chosen specific strategic product offerings based on, what's in demand. He's done that research. What's in demand, where the market gaps are that he's able to fill, and the pricing that he can offer for the fulfillment. So I know that if I'm going to work with him as my fulfillment, um, I know this is going to sell well. So I'm excited, looking forward, into the future to start something new there, and just try something new that I know is going to work. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. So that's one thing.
Uh-huh.
Another thing is, Jesse just put out training on Amazon, and I have not touched Amazon at all.
Uh-huh.
So I know that that's so much opportunity there. So I'm going to expand into Amazon.
Hmm.
Um, Another thing is I'm going to start using Hello Custom to do my personalization. I currently do that all manually,
Hmm.
which is a you know it's good because I'm saving some profit there or whatever, but I could be taking that time and put that into building and growing
Yeah.
my shop. So that's my plan there.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm all about trying to find ways to be more efficient with my shop. I'm not the seller that's probably going to be looking for hiring VAs and expanding in that way. I kind of would much rather keep the stress level down for me
Uh,
and just find ways to be the most efficient that I can,
mhm.
using software, and just getting my process down to a T where I can expand in that way. So just looking for ways to always continually grow and get better in those ways. So
Yes. Amazing. So a year to grow and a year to get more efficient. I love that. A good combination together. I don't want to give away too many details about your shop or anything like that, but could you maybe hint to the viewers on the product type that you're going to focus in on in 2025? That new product type for you? Would you feel comfortable with saying that?
well, I'll say it might have to do with kids.
Okay, amazing. Okay, that's perfect. Awesome, awesome. We won't give away any other details. You guys can figure out what it is exactly. So that's awesome. Uh, perfect, perfect. Okay, great. So, question for you, Jackie. I know you're a huge supporter of myself and my program and everything like that, but what would you say to someone who's on the fence about joining Inner Circle Prince?
I would say that I understand, coming from my discovery process on YouTube and seeing what's out there, and seeing that there are so many people saying I've sold 20 billion. It's just like these crazy numbers, and it's like, you know it's like it's unbelievable. Like you don't believe what you're seeing or hearing. And I can understand that there would be some hesitancy with wanting to invest in your time and money, and and making that leap into starting something for yourself in that way. But I mean, I'm just so grateful that I did. The financial opportunity it's provided me is just, I mean, I think the numbers speak for themselves. I'm just really happy with what Inner Circle Prince has been able to offer me. And, you know, I, I think you just need to be careful with, like, when you're looking at Etsy coaches online. I
Mhm.
remember I'll just say my experience.
Uh,
There was a woman who was an Etsy coach, and
uh,
she was saying, well, if you put a listing out and it doesn't sell in the first 4 weeks, you know it's a dud, delete it, move on to the next. And just from my experience that I had, previously selling, digital files and stuff like that, I'm like, no, that is horrible advice. No. But
yeah.
I could understand that there's people that they just don't know. So they would, be able to trust anybody who comes off convincing enough. So, but the reason I specifically went with Jesse was, at that time you had a seller who was number one in all of Etsy, like not just in the product category,
Yeah.
in all of Etsy. And for a certain, period of time. It wasn't just a one-off.
Yes.
And I was just so impressed by that, because that that's a lot of knowledge and strategy and skill that to make that happen.
Yeah.
So that was and I did my little behind the scenes research. I'm like, is this true? It was like another, this is too good to believe, but it was the truth. And um, you know, I think if you have the drive, you're self motivated, you're willing to learn, and you want to spend that time to build your business, like there's no reason why you shouldn't. Like, I just keep going back to what I thought is like, well, why couldn't that story be my story?
Yeah.
There's no reason. I know that I have this inside of me that I could make it work.
Hmm.
And I think that would be true of so many people watching this now. They are probably in the exact same spot where they're like, I just need, I just need some help. Like, I just need someone to help me figure out why, this isn't working if they're already in it, or, they just need a process. And you have that proven process.
Hmm.
And it's just cool because I get to pick your brain like one on one,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Uh-huh.
um, that's been really cool for me to be able to do that, because like the group coaching is cool too, but I really enjoy the one-on-one, because I can just ask specific questions in regards to my shop and what I'm doing. um, Having said that, the community that you have is also cool, because people ask each other questions, and you're surrounded by people who are in the same spot as you are. Um, so yeah, that's your long answer. I just say go for it.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you, Jackie, for all of that.
Yeah.
So if you are someone who's out there and you're like, hey, I at least want to learn some more about inner circle prints, I have an application link in the description below. You can go check that out. There's some questionnaires so you can figure out, give me some answers, and then I'll give you an overview video. Is pretty much where it's at. So I want to go through a process with you to understand where you're at in your business, what you're looking to accomplish, all of what you're wanting to create, pretty much. And then from there, if you are approved, you'll get an ICP overview video, so you can learn about our strategic product types. You can learn about our world-class POD education and all of the things that come inside the program. So if that is you, go ahead and click on the application link in the description below. Awesome. So let's move on to my next question. I got a couple more for you, Jackie, and then I'll let you go here. So if you could give someone direction who's just getting started in the space, or someone who's working to get consistency in their business, what advice would you give that seller?
um it's really interesting, because like the first thing that comes to mind is like, consistent sales require consistent action, which
Yeah.
generally is yeah, I like that is a true statement.
Hmm.
But I just told my story, and it
Yeah.
was not consistent. There was not consistent action.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why it worked for me was because I had that foundation of, I had the right, you know, you, when we talk about all these little things that add up, and when they add up to like this grand listing that is going to sell. So I think I had that in place for so many of my items.
Yes.
So really, it's, you gotta, I would definitely say, find a mentor, find a coach, find someone who's done this before.
Hmm.
Look to Jesse if that's like, if that feels right for you. Definitely follow Jesse on YouTube. He gives so much great value out for free that I mean, I rewatch those YouTube videos that are just like chock full of great information.
Hmm.
Um, Another thing I would say is, don't let perfectionism get in the way.
Yeah.
And I have a really cool story about this, because I tend to do this with my listings. Like, I
Hmm.
can spend way too much time designing something, and just, I like, it has to be just perfect until, I put it out, and which can work, but you also just need to get stuff out there.
Yes.
But I had a listing that I was doing the mock-up for, and I just couldn't get it right. Like, no matter what I did in Photoshop, I was just, and I'm not a Photoshop whiz, but
Uh-huh.
I could not get it right. So when I published the listing, I was like, well, this is going to be a dud. This is not going to sell, because this doesn't look right, but I have to move on, because I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
That ended up being my number one bestseller. I sold $60,000 worth of that item, and that was a good lesson for me to learn, you
Yeah.
know. And I still have to remind myself of that pretty much on a daily basis when I'm working on my listings, because it's, you can't let that get in the way.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a good one. And I'd also say definitely offer personalized listings.
Hmm.
Um, that's been a huge one for me. Uh, most of my listings are personalized,
Yeah.
and you're offering so much value to the customer. You're standing out in a different way. Um, that's huge. So if you have the capacity, I definitely say to do that. And don't be like me and wait forever to utilize Hello Custom.
Yeah. Yes. No,
Start
that's awesome.
working with that as soon as you can.
Mhm.
Um, and for anyone who doesn't know, Hello Custom is an automated um, personalization software, so it'll do it for you. And yeah, and another thing I would definitely recommend is to be careful with comparing yourself to others. I still struggle with this. You see sellers who have sold, this crazy number, and you're like, I'm never gonna get there. That's so many sales. Like I'm behind. I'm
Uh-huh.
behind. I'm never gonna catch up. That's sometimes, like, honestly, the feeling that I have. But you just have to remind yourself that every seller started at zero. Every single seller started with zero sales. So there's you just have to put your blinders on and get to work.
Yes.
Don't worry about everything going on around you. Just get it out there, and it's not going to be perfect when you start. So you just gotta get something out there, and you'll learn as you go. That's definitely something that was true for me.
Yes. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that was really good. I hope you guys go back through and re-listen to that because there's some really good golden nuggets in there. So one of the things Jackie talked about right there was, I think your quote was consistent action leads to consistent sales or something that focus or that something like that.
Yep.
And you were saying, hey, that's not true for me because, a year later I wasn't being consistent. I was still getting consistency in my business. But what actually happened there was what you did before allowed that to happen because you had properly leveraged search volume. So if you're looking for consistency in your business, the only way you're going to find that on a platform is when you are leveraging different aspects of search volume that cover evergreen products, that cover seasonal timeframes, so that as things ebb and flow in the market, which they will, you will continuously be showing up to the right customer in the right location, ready for them to buy. And so that's why Jackie saw the consistency, is because she had a bunch of products that were properly leveraged, a year later, even without pouring in a ton of time. So that consistency was done beforehand, which allowed her to be successful later on, which is absolutely amazing. So hopefully you guys can pull from that and utilize that in your business. So thank you, Jackie. So before I let you go, is there anything you want to leave the viewers with at all? Is there any like last minute tips or anything like that?
Yeah, just a few things. I mean, first of all, I would just say, I can't recommend Jesse's coaching enough. If you couldn't tell already, I'm a big fan. I definitely say look into it. Look at his YouTube channel, and really try to absorb that information and put it to use and see how that works for you. I mean, I think you'd be surprised with the results you get just from listening to that free content, which is so cool that that's out there in the first place. Um, and I just want to say, if you're going through like challenging times, if you feel stuck, if you feel stuck in your job, if you feel stuck financially, there are opportunities out there for you. You can be the driver of your success, and that works for me. And there's no reason why it can't work for you. The sky's the limit, really. And I just want to say that I wish everybody out there that's like considering this or already in this, I really wish them the best of luck. And just thanks again to Jesse. I will always be so grateful. And yeah, just thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jackie, for coming on today. I think so many gold nuggets were given, and you have such an amazing story. So I'm so excited to see what you accomplish moving forward because this is just the beginning for you. So I'm excited to see a year, 2 years, and so on down the road. So thank you again, Jackie, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, you too, Jesse.